From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Now at 6, Oaklanders are demanding an end to violence.
We care about Oakland. We're tired of what's happening in Oakland.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
More on the demonstrations as the city preps for new leadership.
Plus, the Bay Area marking 50 years since the U.S. pulled out of Vietnam.
As citizens, it is our duty and our right to correct our country when we do feel like we're making a mistake.
We're hearing from those impacted by the war and federal cuts to Veterans Affairs services.
Later, March Madness excitement in San Francisco. We hear from fans who traveled near and far for the big dance.
We booked refundable hotels and flights, and then at the very last second when we won at midnight, we just had it all set.
We'll tell you which school just booked a spot into the Final Four.
Live from the CBS studios in San Francisco, I'm Brian Hackney.
And I'm Andrea Nakano. A car caravan came through Oakland today with demonstrators calling for a stop to violence in the city streets. They want to create safety in the community without relying on law enforcement. And this comes just 2 weeks ahead of the big vote to determine who will take over as mayor. Former Congresswoman Barbara Lee spoke at today's rally, while her opponent, Lauren Taylor, was knocking on doors. Dahlin caught up with both of them.
Knocking on doors.
Hi there, good morning.
Shaking hands.
I'm Austin Grant's father.
And answering questions. The two leading mayoral candidates met with dozens of people on Saturday to earn their votes.
Lauren Taylor.
Nice to meet you, Lauren.
Nice to meet you too.
Lauren Taylor spent hours in the Laurel District going from door to door to answer questions about how he would fix the city.
What plans do you have for the city?
The three main priorities.
Okay.
We have to keep the city safe, we have to clean it up, and we have to make more opportunities for people. So jobs, careers, and businesses, supporting businesses that are here.
Taylor spent roughly 5 to 10 minutes with each voter, some already planning to vote
Sharon,
for
who you voted for?
You.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Others undecided, like Lydia Mann.
I just feel that they both bring very different things to the campaign, and it's trying to decide which of those things is most valuable for Oakland. So Lauren Taylor, he has been here, he's lived it for 4 years. At the same time, I think Barbara Lee has a lot of connections, and she has a lot of experience mediating between groups.
Taylor explained to voters how he would improve safety and prevent bankruptcy. The city is facing a large budget deficit, roughly $130 million.
3 academies per year for 3 years is what I believe is necessary to get us to 800 officers.
A few miles away, Barbara Lee met with voters in front of City Hall at a peace rally.
I want to govern where everybody has a seat at the table to solve these problems.
Lee views herself as the connector. She believes she has the relationships and the trust from various groups to unite a divided city.
I'm a negotiator, but I'm a fighter also for Oakland.
Yes.
And so we need somebody who can negotiate for a better life for everyone.
Lee has already earned endorsements from labor unions, many politicians, and most of the Oakland council members. She says it'll take all the different groups pulling in one direction to fix a broken city.
We need you. We're in a crisis. We've got a budget crisis, and we have to steady the ship. We have to look at how we do the budget, for example. That's by increasing revenue or cutting expenses. That's one thing. Secondly, though, we have to do this together. This is, again, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a while.
While Taylor acknowledged Lee has the name recognition, he's optimistic he can win over voters by meeting them where they are.
Feeling great. Momentum is on our side. We had almost 60 people out today at the canvas, knocking on doors out in neighborhoods.
Taylor lost in the last mayoral election by less than 700 votes. Both he and Lee know it's very important to get out the vote to get their supporters to vote. By the way, the special election is on April 15th.
And speaking of special elections in San Jose, voting centers are now open for the District 3 special election happening next month. The winning candidate will fill the seat of Councilmember Omar Torres. He resigned before his November arrest on charges of sexual misconduct with a child. 7 candidates are vying for the job. Few people were going in to vote at the Joyce Ellington Branch Library. The special election is on April 8th.
Also in San Jose, dozens of people protested by a Tesla showroom near Santana Row. Demonstrators say they are against Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency slashing federal jobs.
and we are already dangerously understaffed in the VA. And when you do dangerous cost cutting for healthcare staff, that puts the patient, that causes harm and death to our patients.
Protesters are urging people to sell their Tesla vehicles and their shares of Tesla stock as a way to denounce Musk. A similar protest playing out on the peninsula. Hundreds of people gathered outside this Tesla dealership in Colma.
Well, one of the departments facing pressure from DOGE is Veterans Affairs. And today in Alameda, veterans were honored aboard the USS Hornet, 50 years and more after their service in Vietnam. John Ramos has more on the challenges they face, both then and now.
The USS Hornet is a World War II-era ship, but its museum focuses on a number of armed conflicts, including Vietnam, a war that changed the way Americans view war and the country itself. Climbing the gangplank to the USS Hornet is like an ascent to the past, but it was a troubled past that was remembered on this day. The Vietnam War began as a struggle to prevent the spread of communism, but soon lost its way, along with a lot of young American soldiers. Joe Laparo spoke for them.
We lost 58,000 in Vietnam, and we've lost, by count of the government, probably another 300,000 due to Agent Orange. And we lose approximately 22 veterans a day to suicide. Be the kind of American that is worth dying for. Because those men, they deserve it.
Darren Walton was a young Marine Recon Ranger in 1969. He served many harrowing missions, and after the war, with the nation turning against its own warriors, he had trouble adjusting and wrote a book about his experience, partly to explain what happened, but also to try to make sense of it in his own mind.
I'm not against war, but I haven't seen a just war since I've come back from Vietnam.
But sometimes even unjust actions can have positive outcomes. Phong Law is Alameda County's tax assessor. As a young child, his family fled Vietnam in a fishing boat, and he made a life here thanks to the generosity of government services offered to refugees. And that's why he sees the current anti-immigrant campaign as misguided.
I've come to accept and realize that we're not a perfect country. We're absolutely not. We will make mistakes from time to time. America's the greatest country in the world, not because of who we exclude, but because of who we include in our land. It is those that we allow to come here, like myself, that work very hard to ensure that what we fight for and what we strive for and what we represent is true to our beliefs. That freedom that we have comes from all of you, from your service to us, but also comes from all of us in ensuring that we have the government that we want.
There are also efforts underway to cut 80,000 employees from the Veterans Administration, the source of medical and mental health benefits that so many aging Vietnam vets rely on.
It's very difficult to do the outreach that we need to do and reach all of these men. But only 1 in 5 of those men are shown to have been contacted by the VA.
But in the audience was Royce Swicegood, a Vietnam vet and Trump supporter from Union City. He simply doesn't believe the proposed cuts are real.
I think President Trump has our back. I don't think it's going to happen at all. In fact, I am 100% disabled, and I received my check for April already. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that is propaganda. I think that's people talking out of school.
Just like in Vietnam, it's sometimes hard for veterans and the country to understand what's really going on, and even harder to know for sure how it's all going to turn out.
Wow. Darren, what are we standing on? It looks like a mattress exploded.
This is the high-resolution satellite imagery. You are on the night side of the country right now, where you're seeing the city lights under the clouds.
Okay.
I wanted to show you this because we were watching the clouds building all day. Like, we were looking at the view out from the virtual set. We see them wherever you were in the bay, you saw them. And it looks like something's coming. Let me show you where that is coming from. Take a look out here. Now we come over to the daylight side. Here's San Francisco. Look at that big batch of clouds out there. Yeah, there's rain under that. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get here. Let me get the leading edge of rain on here. Watch the depiction there for just the very first showers that arrive. Really not till like 11 o'clock tonight or like midnight. And then it'll rain better in the pre-dawn hours of Sunday. Let me show you this in another way. We'll get a little more detail on this. As cool as it is to get the perspective looking at the map on there. Let's see if we can get the high-resolution forecast model to time out the leading edge of rain coming into the bay. And when we do that, it's light showers right about here. This is like 11 o'clock, but I want you to see what happens there. That gets us to like 2, 3 in the morning. This is when some of the most impressive rain of all of Monday is going to come overhead. There's a chance of rain for most of Monday until about sunset. But the most impressive part of Monday's rain is probably that. And it's going to happen while you're sleeping. You know, if you're asleep at 2 or 3 in the morning. And then you'll see there'll be follow-up showers. When we get back together again, I'm going to walk you through the rest of your Sunday into the afternoon, and then we do have to talk about Monday and Tuesday. They both have a chance of rain on them. See you with that and the full forecast in just a few minutes for now. Andrea, back to you.
Wreck 'em Tech. Yeah, wreck 'em. Yeah. Go Gators.
Well, the March Madness is here. Thousands of fans from near and far piled into Chase Center this evening to see if their school could punch a ticket to the Final Four in San Antonio. We caught up with a couple Red Raider fans who decided to fly out here from Texas in the last minute.
We saw we won in the round of 32. We booked refundable hotels and flights. And then at the very last second when we won at midnight, we just had it all set, ready to go, locked in.
It was about midnight Texas time. We were definitely not really sure where we were going to be the next day.
Unfortunately for Peyton and Daniel, Texas Tech fell short of the Final Four in the end, losing a nail-biter to Florida just about 30 minutes ago.
And still ahead, an engineering marvel, also quite a sight, beautifully photographed, is pulling tourists in.
Some people say, oh, that's really beautiful. Some say it's frightening.
Why they ended up with this unusual design.
Plus, the destruction from the Myanmar earthquake is far-reaching.
Our people are experiencing, a lot of difficulties.
We're hearing from one San Francisco woman who has been trying to reach out to her family.
Hi there, welcome back. A mesmerizing scene taking place in the North Bay. It really is something to see. I mean, you walk up to it and go, oh my God. It's that round spillway at Lake Berryessa is active for the first time in a few years. I spoke to the historian, the physicist, and the author of the Lake Berryessa News, who helped make the Glory Hole Spillway a global sensation. Lake Berryessa is going down the drain, and that's a good thing. It means they've had a wet year in the North Bay, and when the Monticello Reservoir is filled to the brim, water's got to go somewhere. Oh my God, look at that.
It's called the Glory Hole Spillway. That's really what the engineers called it, and we shortened it to Glory Hole.
You're still impressed by looking at it?
Absolutely, every time I come and look at it.
Peter Kilkus is a local historian.
It really became an attraction around the world.
And the author of a number of books, and the online Lake Berryessa News, which monitors the spillway.
People have different opinions. Some people say, oh, that's really beautiful. Some say it's frightening.
Whatever it is, it really sucks people in.
Yeah, it's a big tourist attraction. In fact, on a heavy day in the weekends, you can't even park here.
The big draw, while most dams use traditional spillways, there wasn't room for them here. So the water just goes down this 70-foot diameter drain, then takes a 90-degree bend and is dumped into the creek below. Unusual design?
Yes, it's fairly rare. There's only 2 in California, and there are a couple of others in Europe, but they're very rare.
It's also rare because the water doesn't overflow that often. The last time was in 2017, and
2017 is the first time it went over in 11 years.
That's when Peter's Lake Berryessa News posted its drone video on the internet.
And we had 62 million views around the world. After that, it really became an attraction around the world.
It all began when the dam went up in 1958.
And of course, it buried a town. There was a town here that was one of the great agricultural producers before 1958.
And the name of the town was?
Monticello, the town of Monticello, and this is Monticello Dam.
Now its water goes to 500,000 people in Solano County. When the lake's low, the outflow pipe becomes a mecca for skateboarders. And when it's high,
it's really a circular waterfall.
It has your head spinning.
As a scientist, I love to watch the water flow because I know the physics behind it. Yeah. And as a normal human being, it's just beautiful.
So cool to see that. Great story, Brian. All right, so we got a little more rain coming our way tonight. What we looked at already to start this off was how the light showers come in tonight. And this is what we're looking at. Timestamp up there shows you. I've taken us ahead to the 11 o'clock hour. This is probably not even measurable. So let's go ahead now to that point in time now where the rain starts to become a little more noticeable. Gets a little bit heavier from about midnight tonight to about, say, 2 or 3 in the morning. And you'll see the shades of yellow here deepen, get some bands of orange. There we are, 1 o'clock, it's moving across the North Bay. Here we are, 2 or 3, it's coming across the Santa Clara Valley. At this point now, it can be kind of disorienting to tell where you are when you cover the virtual map with rain like this. And I want to show you some of the breaks in this and how this will play out. So let's take a bite of the virtual map for a second. Let's bring back up the forecast imagery. We're picking up right where we left off. Look at the time there, 2 or 3 in the morning. This is that most widespread band of rain for Monday morning in the pre-dawn hours, and then we're going to advance it. We get to sunrise, and you still have a few spotty showers. There's a focus here in the North Bay. There's really not a whole lot happening here from the city south. Granted, there is some rain, so you get a few light showers, but this is really primarily North Bay rain through the late morning and into the early afternoon. And then by the time we get to about 4 o'clock, let's advance that here, you're going to see it kind of breaks up. And that brings a close to the Monday rain. But there are still Tuesday and Wednesday to go. And some of the rains, I should say that brings it close to the Sunday rain. There's still Monday and Tuesday to go. It's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday when it's going to rain. Here's Monday morning. Monday morning's rain is going to be a little more intense. So it'll come down in slightly like sharper, stronger clips as it moves through. Like that right there. That gets us to like the early morning hours of the Monday morning commute. You could need the windshield wipers. You could get brief little periods where the rain's coming down enough. It could slow the drive down a bit on Monday, but this is not an overwhelming, widespread, steady, long-duration rain event. It's just that some of the better rain's going to come through on the Monday morning commute with scattered showers in through Monday afternoon. Look, most places aren't getting anything, but the places that are getting a good little rain, like going right through northern parts of Sonoma County. It just stays like that. Plenty of breaks of blue sky on Monday, but also an isolated shower will come through. This is what spring systems look like. You get breaks of blue sky and you think it's done, and then an isolated little cell will come through, or perhaps even an organized line like that, and you get a brief little like downpour. But it doesn't last long, so it doesn't add up to a whole lot. Look at the rainfall totals for this. By the time we get to Tuesday, late afternoon, we'll be done. That's the Monday rain, about 1/4 of an inch of rain in the North Bay. I should say Sunday. I'm going to get those days straightened out. That's the Sunday rain. That's tomorrow. Here's the Monday rain. Now we've seen it go up a bit more. Now here's Tuesday. And that's it. We don't have any more coming after that. So we'll get about 1 inch of rain total for the whole 3-day period, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, in the North Bay, and maybe about 1/2 inch of rain in the South Bay. Now, if you've been playing along with the forecast up till now, for the last few days, we had been looking at the possibility there'd be another system back here, and we'd be getting a little more rain Wednesday into late next week. That system is off now. It's going to bring some snow to the Sierra. I'll show you what happened to it. It's going to be an inside slider. Bottom line, I don't have rain in the forecast there at this point. So that's nice. You get a nice little break, but it'll rain for the next 3 days.
Well, as we know, baseball is back, and so is the Battle of the Bay. We are excited to bring you the Oakland Ballers versus the San Jose Giants next Wednesday on PIX Plus. First pitch is at 6 o'clock.
Before teams even tipped off in the Sweet 16, I wanted to see how much NCAA fans knew about the NBA squad that calls San Francisco home.
Pig suey, Razorback!
Fans have traveled from all over. Where'd you come from?
Came from Texas, Lubbock, Texas.
Their battle cries are loud.
Woo!
Pigs! Outside the home of the Warriors, how much would they know about their teams? What year did you go to Maryland?
In the 90s.
Okay, this is right up your alley. Which former Terp was selected first overall by the Warriors?
Joe Smith.
Joe Smith. You didn't even hesitate.
Yeah, Joe Smith, man, of course.
It wasn't Alex Len, was it?
No.
That's Joe Smith.
If you're a Razorback at Chase, you better know which dub used to rep in Fayetteville.
My mom and Blake, I'm on the spot.
Moses Moody.
Oh, Moses Moody, that's right.
Moses Moody. Too easy. You guys like Moses?
Hell yeah. Moses is a dog, man. He's a dog.
The Gators had the longest distance to travel and most difficulty answering questions. Do you know the two members of the Gators that were on the 2015 Warriors championship team?
Two Gators on the championship team would have been Michael Frazier?
No.
Oh, I would not know that.
You don't know that one?
No, but do you know who the 5 Gators were that won the first national championship?
No, you got to tell me that one. You switched it on me.
I think one of them was Maurice Spates.
One has a great nickname.
That doesn't help. Oh, Amari Spellman.
No, it's Mo Spates.
Oh, Maurice Spates!
I'm starting to feel bad for David Lee. Nobody knows who he is.
Oh, this is a tough one.
His initials are DL.
That's not Looney, is it? No.
Nobody knows the second guy. I feel bad
I don't
for
know
him.
why I want to say Mike Dunleavy Jr., but I know that's wrong.
David Lee.
Boom, you're one of the first people who has gotten it.
David Lee I would not have gotten. Mo Spates I should have gotten.
Everybody loves Mo Spates around here.
I should have gotten Mo Buckets. He's the man.
Well, the Gators are moving on. As you said, I had Texas Tech in my Final Four. Who do you have as your champion, by the way?
Houston.
Houston as well.
Yeah.
We got a problem. All right.
Texas.
Thank you so much, Pat.
Coming up in our next half hour, recovery efforts are underway in Southeast Asia after a 7.7 earthquake devastated Myanmar and Thailand.
Plus, a new tool to fight fires is coming from space. A first look at new tech from NASA.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Welcome back. We're getting some of the latest images from Myanmar where a deadly 7.7 earthquake devastated Southeast Asia.
One geologist says the force of the quake unleashed the energy equivalent of 334 atomic bombs.
Myanmar's government says the death toll is estimated to be more than 1,600, but experts fear that the real toll will be far higher and could take weeks to uncover.
The Myanmar government also confirmed that 3,400 people were injured and 139 people are still missing. Meanwhile, in the nearby city of Bangkok, at least 10 people were killed. We spoke with the wife of one of the missing located in Bangkok where a building collapsed.
I'm looking for my husband. He's trapped inside. Until I see his body, I still have hope.
China and Russia were among the first to step in with humanitarian aid, sending in hundreds of rescuers and supplies and pledging millions of dollars in relief. Meanwhile, President Trump on Friday said the U.S. will be sending help as well. San Francisco has one of the highest Burmese populations out of major U.S. cities, according to data from the Pew Research Center. It isn't hard to find Burmese restaurants in the city for sure, and some of them are already making plans to send help back home. Burma Superstar in the Richmond plans to donate a portion of its sales for the next 2 weeks to recovery efforts in Myanmar, which of course used to be Burma. Business manager Chris Parks spoke to us about his inspiration to help.
It's an important time, I think, especially in the country right now, to realize that we're all people. And so it's important to come together and really support people, whoever they happen to be.
Chris says they're still trying to figure out which organization to give the money to so they can help as many people as possible. Andrea?
There are families here who have been worried about loved ones since they heard about the quake. Many are having trouble getting in touch with their family members, and concern grows by the hour as devastating news and images come from Myanmar and Thailand.
This was 8-something, and I think curfew was at 9:30 or 10 or something.
Yumi Thaw works at the Burmese Kitchen in the Richmond district, but her focus has been on the other side of the world. She usually talks to her mom in Myanmar at a specific time every day, but Thursday that call never came. She had already seen the images of the devastating earthquake that had hit the Southeast Asian nation.
Probably like 4 a.m. in the morning in U.S. time, my mom finally contacted me and they're safe.
Thaw was able to talk to her mom for a few minutes, just long enough to get a quick update. Her home sustained major damage, and these are the pictures her mom was able to send of the destruction.
Most of the things that in my house broke and everything messed up, but all of my family members are safe. No one really got hurt.
But since the early wake-up call, Thaw has been unable to reach her mother again. With electricity and internet service down in the area, many are struggling to charge their phones and call out. Thaw says her family is extremely concerned about aftershocks and are afraid to sleep inside their homes.
Most of the people in my neighborhood, they try to sleep outside of the house, so it might be really hard for them to sleep at night.
Thaw is hoping to send back outdoor sleeping supplies to her family soon, but right now she's worried about everyone not having the basic necessities such as clean water and electricity. She says the earthquake just adds more stress to a country dealing with political turmoil.
Myanmar is such a great country, but our people are experiencing, a lot of difficulties, and they've been struggling like since 2021, I would say, the coup and everything. So I send all my prayers to the people in my country in Myanmar.
Yeah, tough times. I mean, there's a civil war going on in in Myanmar as well, so a lot of things to deal with. And from one disaster to another, fire crews in California trained to handle some of the most intense circumstances imaginable, but at times, low visibility or dangerous conditions can stop an air assault, the most effective tool at fighting wildfires. But now, NASA's stepping in, helping expand the window of time that crews have to respond to a major incident. See this video where researchers perform their first wildfire test flight mission using new airspace management technology. Looks like a drone to me. It's potentially life-saving tech. Years in the making, and they brought Mary Lee along for the ride.
Do you want to? I think so.
You can fine adjust more if you want.
Here in the beautiful Salinas foothills, NASA researchers have turned this private land into their very own live experiment. Their mission, helping crews fight fires from the air both day and night, sending all types of aircraft in the sky 24/7. Because right now, pilots can't fly at night or in heavy smoke.
It's something that I've spent years talking to firefighters from different agencies about, and it's just really exciting to actually, see the drones take off and then see the real live display, not simulated data, but like the actual live location of all those pieces being tracked in our system.
Taking me along for the ride, we drove up rugged terrain to get to the launch site. This is where we found more NASA researchers here in this remote area. They purposely picked this spot because of the hills, vegetation, and weak cell service.
I'll just put the batteries on, and then I'll come back for the RC.
This is where we met Jonas Jansson. He's the mission manager for NASA's test mission here.
We have ground station operator here, so it's going to then take over the control of the aircraft and fly the flight plan, which we have scouted out there. So it's a lawnmower pattern and going back and forth across the hillside. And the purpose is to simulate a prescribed burn.
NASA is testing its Portable Aircraft Management System, or PAMS, to make sure drones and remotely piloted aircraft stay inside their approved flight paths, wildfire operation zones, and of course, avoid any collisions in the air. By first making sure their aircraft communication runs smoothly, they can then safely deploy all aircraft at night or in heavy smoke, something they could never do before. Extending the time crews can fight fires is crucial and can make all the difference in stopping a wildfire from getting out of control.
This project is super personal to me. I grew up in Southern California. I've been evacuated. I lived in the canyon that every year you get fires. And so being able to help with this project and help our end users is really kind of just a dream come true.
It's a real good motivation for in the morning when you get up at 5 a.m. or something to head out and do the flight test. you know that you're doing it for a good cause.
For NASA researchers, they say this mission is not just rewarding, but brings them one step closer to reality. They hope fire crews can start using their new technology out in the field soon.
A plan to put low-income project in a flood zone draws scrutiny.
Supposed to put low-income housing in areas that are better than they have been.
Why experts are saying it's a bad idea when we come back. In Marin County, a new low-income apartment complex is facing some pushback because of where it's planned. It started out as a 74-unit project along Drake Avenue in Marin City, but the plans changed with the development split into two locations, a scaled-down version that will remain at the original location in Marin City and a second building with 32 units on Shoreline Highway in unincorporated Mill Valley. The problem is the site sits in a FEMA-designated flood zone, and as Suji Nam shows us, that's raising some serious concerns.
Supposed to put low-income housing in areas that are better than they have been. This one is substantially worse.
Amy Kalish, the chair of the Tamalpais Design Review Board in Marin County, is touring the property at 150 Shoreline Avenue, the potential site for low-income housing. She says the plans violate local building regulations.
25 feet is the actual height limit, but part of this building will go to 70 feet.
Amy and her team are the advisory board to developers in the county. When she got the first application, she said she knew this site wasn't the right fit for the project.
Second time we got the plans that we reviewed, nothing had changed. The windows are still coming down to the ground.
The low windows, a concern as the property sits in a flood zone according to FEMA.
Water. All of it.
Amy took these a few months ago, showing the aftermath of heavy rain. King tides also impact the area. She adds the proposed site is just a walk away from this marshy area, posing safety risks for future residents on this plot of land. The Marin County Community Development Agency supports the plan. Sarah Jones, the director of the agency, says affordability has to be a priority. She adds the site has already been zoned for housing, making the option to split the sites appealing.
Get to an outcome that would result in adding the same amount of affordable housing in the southern part of Marin County, but distribute some of it into higher resource areas.
Many Mill Valley residents have been outspoken against the project. They cite many of the same concerns as Amy, as well as the potential impact of decreasing property values. San Jose State University professor Kelly Snyder says the property value concerns are unfounded.
Zero evidence that constructing high-density housing, medium-density housing, even low-income and subsidized housing has a negative effect on property values.
The developer will soon bring their plans to the County Planning Commission. Amy says this plan feels like all or nothing.
It is an ultimatum, and it's a terrible ultimatum because this is a very bad site for housing.
Amy adds that the county will most likely approve this new proposal, but she hopes the developer will have an improved architectural plan in place to keep residents safe.
We have reached out to the developer but have not heard back. If the proposal is approved by the County Planning Commission, it will then go to the Board of Supervisors for a final decision.
Well, after what's been a pretty gray day out there, clouds are the leading edge of the next system trying to bring us rain, and those showers are going to show up as we get into the evening tonight. This is like 11 o'clock, midnight. And this is really light. I don't even think this rain will be measurable by the time this starts falling. What we're really waiting for is the heavier wave, which will show up in the pre-dawn hours. We'll talk about that for Sunday morning early. We also need to look at Monday and Tuesday again. We'll go into the longer range. Where is that storm going for the second half of the week? It's not bringing us rain, but it could help with the snow survey. By the way, that's coming up, the big snow survey of the year. We'll talk about where things stand in terms of that. Forecast after the break. Man, you could tell just from looking at the sky all day today that things had changed in terms of the arrival. There was a system sitting off the coast of California. We've been looking at the clouds all day. That's one way to look at it, just to get direct eyesight on it. Out the window here in the virtual set, that is a live view over the bay right now. Here's what it looked like today. Look at the big batch of clouds out there. If we put the forecast on here in terms of what the rain's going to look like, there is rain within that. We'll play it forward and watch the showers just work their way towards us and not really get here till about midnight. So there's the leading edge of the rain. And the timestamp up there shows you that's not happening until like 11 o'clock tonight. Got another view of it up there in the monitor. This is the futurecast showing you what happens between now and 11. That's showing you what the rain actually is doing. That is first alert Doppler looking at the rain, and you can kind of see it sitting out there off the coast. All right, let's get specific on this. Let me time this out for tonight. And then for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, those are the 3 days we've got rain. I showed this to you in the last half hour. I just want to give you a quick review on how this will go. That's a close-up view on live radar. It looks more impressive than I think it needs to. Radar can oftentimes read a little more of this stuff than what's hitting the ground. We might see a few light showers here, but not anything that would be a whole lot to measure until we get to like 2, 3 in the morning. So any rain that we do get will be fairly light before then. Here's the time frame tomorrow morning when the rain's a little more noticeable. That's before sunrise. The rest of Sunday is just the leftover scattered showers. We're not going to get much blue sky for the first half of the day tomorrow. Chance of showers will always be there. It just won't add up to a lot. And then right about this time tomorrow, maybe about 4 o'clock, things are going to break and you'll get a nice clearing and we'll be done with that phase of the rain. Monday morning it comes back. It's a little more intense on Monday morning. So here's your rain now moving through the North Bay. This is like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. That's early hours of the Monday morning commute. Plan on rain, enough that windshield wipers are on, and it could slow the drive down a bit, but it's not terribly long lasting. It's not super impactful rain. But it'll go on again, off again through Monday. Breaks of blue sky, occasional shower comes through, maybe an isolated thunderstorm comes through. Doubtful on the thunderstorm side, but maybe some brief downpours with this. If we were going to see that thunderstorm, that might be one of the more likely time frames there when that line comes through. There's a good little bullseye showing up on Tuesday. That's Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, we'll be done. So 3 days, we've got this around. Rainfall totals, if you add up all 3 days, we get about 1/4 inch of rain from what comes through tomorrow. When we add in the Monday rain, it goes up again, maybe another 1/2 inch. So now we're looking at close to 3/4 inch rain in the North Bay. And then when we add in that Tuesday rain, that gets us closer to about 1 inch. The next system after that's going to miss us. We clear this one out. We don't have any more rain in the forecast here as we look ahead towards Wednesday and Thursday, because that system's going to be an inside slider. It's going too far inland. So we're going to miss out on that one. But it will deliver more snow to the Sierra, and that is good news. Right now, we're sitting about 90% of average for snowpack in the Sierra. The big snow survey of April 1st, that's the one that matters most for the season in terms of water management and giving us an idea for how much we're going to be able to put into reservoirs. Right now, we're at 90% generally where we want to be. But that system coming through back here might add a little more snow to that. Could be good news in that sense. Also be good to go do a little more spring skiing. All right, Andrea, over to you.
All right, thank you, Darren. San Francisco residents are making good use of the now closed Great Highway space this weekend. The city installed a mini skills course for bikers of all ages. And we spoke with a mom who brought her 2 toddlers to the course.
Any sort of joy on their bikes is good for us, and get them outside and get them worn out so they sleep better and are less of a pain. And anytime we can do that, we'll want to do it.
The city of San Francisco is slated to open a new park space on April 12th.
Well, first dates can always be nerve-wracking, but Spruce, the mountain lion, got along just fine with his new mate, Montana. Spruce grew up at the Oakland Zoo. Well, that didn't sound so good. I guess he's purring. He left his siblings in Oakland to be paired with a similarly aged female at the Birmingham Zoo in Alabama. Oakland Zoo said this is normally, this is normally the age when mountain lions leave home and head out on the prowl.
Sweet. Well, up next, serving sweets with a smile.
I do everything here. I do drinks, I do sandwiches, I do dishes. That's what I do.
We're taking you to Ada's Cafe, which gives jobs for folks with special needs.
It's going to be kind of a pastry-themed segment, a unique way of celebrating the grand opening of a new exhibit in San Francisco. Hundreds of cakes on display outside of the Legion of Honor for the museum's Cake Picnic. It's all part of celebrating the new Wayne Thiebaud exhibit. He's known for his pastry paintings, and attendees say it was a fitting event.
This is what draws people to San Francisco, the creative, the kooky, the weirdos, the fun, the talented. You know, look at this. This doesn't happen anyplace else.
Well, we've got to be known for something. In total, there were more than 1,300 cakes. That's double the number of cakes brought for the first cake picnic in November to celebrate the museum's 100 years. Andrea, continue.
Yeah, I will continue this pastry theme. A sweet success story at a Palo Alto bakery where adults with special needs are helping run a popular neighborhood spot known for its coffee, drinks, and fresh baked goods. Len Ramirez reports.
Hello, Nisha.
There's something special about Charlie Hughes, who works at Ada's Cafe in Palo Alto, and it's not just how hardworking and friendly he is.
Enjoy that.
Charlie was born with developmental disabilities, but he isn't letting that hold him back from enjoying life by working hard and serving the public.
I do everything here. I do drinks, I do sandwiches, I do dishes. That's what I do.
Ada's is a non-profit corporation, and most of the employees have disabilities like Charlie.
It's all about the patience and the kindness and the support.
That's Charlie's mom, Kathleen Foley Hughes, a professional chef and caterer who started the idea behind Ada's when Charlie was in middle school and was isolated from mainstream students. What started as a school cafe project to help Charlie learn skills and interact with the other students ended up being her life's work that has helped so many others. Ada's Cafe is now a popular neighborhood spot known as much for its coffee drinks and freshly baked goodies as for its special employees.
75% of our employees are our mission-based employees, those people that have an intellectual disability, a physical disability, the neurodiverse, or someone who's experiencing a barrier to employment, which can be a lot of things.
Kathleen and her other staff members serve the customers as well, and at the same time act as helpers for the ones just learning.
They have someone there who's teaching them all the time, so it's it means it's crowded back here.
And as if all that weren't enough, Kathleen is also helping the community in other ways. She's donating a portion of coffee sales to Coastal Kids Home Care, which provides services to children with rare diseases. Margie Mayfield, whose home care patients have grown up to work at Ada's Cafe, says there is such a need for places like this.
We see a lot of times that our kids, once they turn 21, really lose a lot of support systems that they have. They can't go to their daycare centers or things like that. So we just love this concept. I wish more people did this. It's wonderful. They're incredibly dedicated employees. They work so hard. And so it's really, we love being connected to them because we see that more of our kids would be able to come through here.
Ada's Cafe.
Charlie lives at home and likes to go to Giants games. He once got to throw out the ceremonial first pitch at a game.
Right here, watch this. Oh, big bear hug.
But mostly his days are spent here, working and helping his family business.
It makes me feel proud and happy that I get to work in this cafe.
The cafe pays its mission-based employees $18.75 an hour, and with other rising costs, it's not a high-profit business. But it has other goals, and now well into its second decade, Kathleen says it's helped hundreds of people like her son find a sense of purpose, happiness, and a paycheck.